Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Middle Country Public Library podcast. This is episode number 243. I am Sal DiVincenzo, joined as usual by my spooky colleagues, Sarah Vade.
Hello.
And Nicole Rambo.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Well, as we usually do every October, we are going to have a theme this month for our shows, and that is Spooktober, because it's spooky time.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, is this like your happy time?
It is.
You like this time, right?
I do like this time.
Because it's there's a lot of spooky stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of classic horror films that come up on TV, and people are talking about it. And
it's cooler out.
It's definitely cooler out. That's
crisper.
For sure. That is for sure. So this month we're going to do that. We're going to have some themed episodes that are spooky and Halloween and horror and that sort of thing. And I thought we'd kick it off with a movie chat.
Yeah.
So we asked Nicole to pick a movie.
Sure.
And she picked
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
It's a classic.
The original classic.
What is it, 92, 93?
I think it was 93. Yeah, 93.
It tanked at the theaters. But it became a cult classic.
It became a cult classic. It definitely tanked at theaters and other locations. Spoiler alert.
Sounds
So we're going to get started. First, this film stars Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, who I have to say looks her absolute best in this film. That's just me. Just me. I'm just saying we don't have to get any further into it. I'm just saying I liked the way she looked in this movie. Nicole, do you want to tell us what this movie is about?
Sure. It's about the town of Salem and its current day, which was 1993 at the time. And this new boy, he moves from California, and so he's like a fish out of water sort of thing. And the town is obviously very into it's Halloween night, and they're like very into it, being Salem and all. And he thinks it's all a bunch of hocus pocus. So the Sanderson Sisters were the witches that lived in Salem that like wreaked havoc back in the day. They sucked the souls out of children to stay young. So they were hanged, right?
Hunged?
Isn't hung? I thought it was hanged. Like I thought hung wasn't a word.
Yes, us librarians should know these.
I know.
No, the hanged man. It's hanged.
It's hanged. Yeah. Hanged back in 1700s, whatever. But they cursed before they were killed. They like put a curse on the town. So if on Halloween night during a full moon, if a virgin lights the black flame candle, they'll be able to come back.
It's a lot of specific
Very
reasons
specific
for this to happen.
Well, sure enough, they all happened on this night. And so Max, the kid from out of town, who thinks this is all just ridiculously, lights this candle. They come back and they start wreaking havoc. But now it's like 1993, so they're getting used to like the 90s and like, the modern times and stuff. And so it's like now they're like the fish out of water, and like it's very funny. I thought it was very funny. And it's like I enjoyed it then because it was like funny, and I enjoy it now because there's like a lot of adult jokes in it too, which I thought were funny.
That you got.
Yes, and then now I understood it. At the time I did not understand.
Understood it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a thumbs up from you.
Yes, obviously I'm a fan.
Sarah, what did you think?
Well, I think it is a family film.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, maybe. Not so much the second time. But it wasn't bad. But it was a little like, okay, I like, if it's on and I'm doing other stuff, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would watch it. I'll watch the second one, I will say.
Will you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Was it as good as the first one?
Not in my opinion.
Okay.
It was cute. I liked the story. I think the first one was very 90s. It was very like, not, you know what I mean? Everything about it was
I
like
had to
90s.
say, the bag that the kid had, Max.
Yeah.
I was like, I had that backpack.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it was very 90s. So I think parents, now if you're like, you watch it, like same thing, like, and the new one is much more modernized. But unfortunately, like, they're older, because it's still the same three, Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker come back, you know what I mean? And they're older, which
so
is
they
like,
need more children to get them even younger.
Well, it's just like it's like sad seeing them like older too. You know
I just have to say, how did Kathy Najimy, who was, what's her name?
Mary.
How did she get her lip like that?
I know, right?
She just holds it that way, I think.
How?
Yeah.
I tried. I'm like,
she's pretty talented.
yeah. I guess
I do think that's very interesting that since the 90s movies, Kathy Najimy has lost a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Compared to
good
what
for her.
what she was originally. So,
And then Tony Hale is in the new one too. I really like Tony Hale.
He's the dad?
Yeah, he's a dad. So he's like, because the new one shows like a little bit of the sisters' origins, like when they're young. And so he was the reverend of the town that kind of like banished them. And then now when they come back this time, he's the mayor of the town. Yeah, so it's like one of those things where it's like the same characters. You could, or same actor. So it's supposed to be like the.
I liked Zombie Man.
Oh, Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher, who's good looking.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm a creep.
You mean in Hocus Pocus, the original?
Yeah,
yeah. In makeup, I was like, he looks like a Johnny Depp in like Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I was like, good cheekbones on that guy.
and he's such a good character too. He's funny.
Now that actor who plays Billy is actually does a lot
He
of
does
those
all this.
types.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Doug Jones,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was in Hellboy.
who was in Hellboy. He played Abe Sapien.
he's the one with the the eyeballs in the hands.
Yes.
I don't know if he was in that. Was he?
No, I thought that was him too.
In Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, that wasn't him.
I don't know. It could have.
Oh.
Yeah, could have been.
He plays Saru in Star Trek Discovery for more modern folks. He plays a lot of those aliens, tall
Yeah,
characters.
He doesn't look like that in real life.
He does
No.
not look like that.
He's
at
more
all.
attractive
He
as
is-
Billy
Billy
Butcher.
Butcher.
Sorry, Doug.
Oh, you think he's more attractive as Billy Butcher? Is that what you said?
I do.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Not a video podcast, but I am showing
he's all right,
Nicole.
yeah.
No, right? You agree
Picture.
with me, right?
well, he has like that like the very stark features.
He looks
very-
like Abe Sapien.
He reminds me. It's interesting. He reminds me a
Hellboy.
little bit of
Oh, Max Headroom?
yes,
No.
Matt Frewer. He reminds me a little bit. It looks
Who's
like
that?
Matt the gentleman who played Max Headroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So did you see this movie, Sarah, as Nicole did in your younger times?
You know what? I don't remember. Like, I don't remember when I saw it originally, and like, it's not something I watch every. It's not something I
Yeah.
watch every year. So when we said we were doing this film, I couldn't just wing it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that film. So there's some things I remember and some things I didn't remember, and I don't remember when I first saw it.
Okay.
I don't think it was when I was a kid, but
Would you like watch it with your like nieces? Well, they're a little older now, but like when they were younger, it's a good one to watch with like your nieces.
So did your daughter see it?
Yes. So my daughter's 8,
Uh-huh.
and she did see it, and she wrote a little review,
Oh.
which I will read for you now. I'll be right up front with you. She loved the movie,
Aww.
and she said the movie was very good. And I think if you don't like seeing witches, zombies, or having your soul sucked out, this is not the pick overall for you. Overall, I really did like the movie.
Fair enough.
So I will say yes. So she enjoyed it. She's 8, so she enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's about the range.
Yeah.
8 to
yes.
12.
I had very high expectations for this movie because everybody that I personally know who has seen the movie loves the movie. Every Disney fan, very specifically, every Disney fan, especially the Disney park fans that I know, love these characters, love the fact that 2 or 3 years ago, they brought them into the park before COVID. They brought them back into the park as a special for the Halloween party
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
They had a show with the Sanderson Sisters. That's a mouthful. Sanderson Sisters.
Yeah.
Everybody went nuts over it. They flipped out. I can't believe it. They're in the parks now, and they could, it's all this big deal. The bar was set very high. This, for me, was not a good movie.
Well, no one said it was good.
I know. Yeah. I don't.
But didn't feel. Now, I did not see this film when it came out. I can't believe it's 30 years. You know, when you see a film and it says 90s, and you look at the calendar and it's 30 years, and then you realize how old you are. So that was the first thing that happened to me.
That's right. You really
The
don't
second,
like it.
yes, but I didn't. It didn't do anything for me. I didn't dislike the movie, but it just was like. Meh. That's basically how I could describe it. It was like,
Oh yeah.
meh.
Well, I think because you never saw it as a child,
Right.
Maybe
it is geared towards children.
that is yes.
So it would be kind of weird if you were like, I loved it.
But
is it-
now for you, it should just be you like enjoying watching it with your daughter.
Yeah.
More so than you enjoying it for your own purposes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and then you can kind of laugh at the jokes that she's not getting. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yes.
Like little things like that. But like, you're not meant to like
and
it.
and Nicole, yeah, exactly. But I couldn't do that.
Okay.
I had a hard time. I kept looking over to see the reaction. The reaction was all good on that side of the couch, but on my side of the couch, it was just kind of like. And I was actually thinking, as an adult watching this, there's a lot of things in there that are very adult that are meant to go over kids' heads. That I'm glad went over the kids' heads.
Well,
Just
yeah.
the fact that the virgin had to light the candle. I didn't want to have that conversation with my 8-year-old. Thankfully, she did not ask what a virgin was.
They don't
I had a
know that.
list of answers set up just in case. It's someone who doesn't have a girlfriend yet. And
Well, in the second one that happened, so this guy is telling the story, and the little boy goes, "What's a virgin?" He's like, "Someone that's never lit a candle before."
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like, though, in a lot of like 80s children's horror movies, there's another one where like this kid brings back like all these like Hollywood monsters or whatever. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like a virgin has to put them back,
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a very common thing.
for the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
a few children's tweens
Yeah.
movies that have the same theme.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's common. And like I was looking at something and they said like is it different like you only had one TV in the house usually at that time and everyone was meant to watch these things together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like streaming and everyone had their device and they just kind of sat in their own room. So there had to be something for adults. There had and children too because it was meant to be watched like together and they didn't want to leave out like the adults and stuff.
Well, I feel like a lot of Disney cartoons have like the
Stuff for everybody.
yeah.
And especially live action. Like if it's a cartoon, then I guess you're going in with a certain expectation. But when it's adult, like live action adults, like you want some things for adults.
Yeah. Again, I didn't dislike this movie. It didn't meet the expectation that I was expecting it to meet, where it was going to be like campy it was kind of campy, but it's still the jokes didn't hit with me. Maybe because, like you said, maybe because I didn't see it originally, that the jokes didn't hit with me. Nicole's looking at me like there's something wrong with me. I'm sorry, Nicole. I just didn't get this movie.
I told you, I didn't think you were meant to like it. It's not for you.
No, it's not.
But I will
Yeah,
also say
yeah.
this, considering this is a Disney film, it kind of dark when you think about it. Like when you really
Yeah.
take it apart. I mean, a young girl is killed at the beginning of the film.
Don't they do that with all their films?
kinda
someone is
I know,
always
right?
killed.
But they gloss it over. Like she's literally, they suck the soul out of this little girl, and she's laying just like slumped over dead, and they just kind of like put it in the background.
Oh, yeah. Storyline must go on.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
I
just
don't know. You can't shield kids from everything, you know?
yeah. It's just it was just kind of interesting how it's so universally loved by a lot of folks, and it just has these certain things that are kind of glossed over. So
I don't know if it's universally loved. I just think it's they're very iconic characters, like Bette Midler, like the sisters, and
yeah, I understand.
Bette Midler's character she did very well.
There's spoiler alert. There's a part though in this film where they're in the school and they take the three witches and somehow they lure them into an incinerator and they incinerate them. The kids turn the incinerator on and they burn them alive. Now they come back to life.
Yeah.
But they don't show it. It's
Yeah.
implied.
Well, see, I think now that it's funny, now that I think about this, I feel like this is a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
This is very cartoony.
Yeah.
Right? The things that happen in this movie. Oh, see, now I get it. See, after a couple of days and a cup of coffee, this is very cartoony. So, like, that thing is kind of something that you would see in a cartoon where they go into the oven
Well, there's like a talking
and
cat.
they come,
I mean,
Yeah.
There is a talking cat.
That gets flattened and then puffs up
Yeah.
again.
Yes.
I think that part was the one that got me when I was little. I was
yeah.
like, no! And then he'd come, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, the cat does die at the end, too.
Well,
But no, but
And
then
it's
his
kind of sad.
spirit
It kind of goes, I know, but it
No.
kind of sounds like, wow, and like, boom, dead. And they just kind of,
But
again.
he's not dead. He's going with his sister now.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending.
Zachary.
It was kind of interesting, considering again that it was, I had high expectations. Now I will say this: if I had to pick a film for that age group to introduce them to this genre, this would be the film. I think this is quote unquote scary enough, if you want to call it that, to have the elements of the horror and that kind of stuff, and yet kind of like pulls the punches on most of it. For it to be okay for that age group.
Yeah, what's someone like Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah,
Just eating children.
That's true. Yeah.
You still just tell that to kids, that story?
Yeah, I guess you do.
Well, they've always been dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm waiting for the time for my daughter to be able to sit down and watch Ghostbusters. Both my wife and I want her to see that movie. I saw it when I was 11 in the theater, which is crazy because it was like a packed theater. Movie was like 2 weeks old. And I had no idea that Ghostbusters was going to be scary because the trailer was a lot of the comedy part of it. And that first scene with the librarian where it was, and I was like, literally had my hat over my eyes because I was just like, what's going to happen next? But people were laughing and like screaming in the theater. It was my first experience of that communal experience in a theater where people were like actually yelling and screaming and something like that. So that was a great experience. But I would love to see that film with her. But all right. Scale of 1 to 10, Hocus Pocus original, 1990s. Nicole.
9.
9, see, yeah, okay. And you saw this when you were how old? You were 10? No. 8? You were 8.
I definitely didn't see it in the theater.
Okay.
So maybe, when it came, back then it took like a year to come out on VHS. So maybe, probably 9 or 10.
Okay, 9 or 10. And Sarah, scale of 1 to 10, probably seeing it for the first time, right? At this age?
Well, no, I mean, I saw it before.
You saw it, but okay.
I would say the film itself is probably like a 6, but for nostalgia reasons, it would be like a 7, 8.
Okay. I'm gonna just split it in the middle, say 5 for me. We'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so great. There's your spooky movie chat. If you want to listen to older movie chats, older episodes, listen to our other Halloween episodes and our other Spooktober episodes. We'll put it in the show notes for you. mcplpodcast.com. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. Thank you to the one person who subscribed between last week and this week. I appreciate it. We'd love to get up to 1,000 subscribers someday. Would be nice. So if you could do that, that would be great. And if you want to email us and let us know how we're doing, we'd greatly appreciate that. podcast@mcplibrary.org. So for Sarah Fade and Nicole Rambo, I'm Sal DiVincenzo. We'll see you on the next show.